I'm Michael. He's Abdul. It is Friday, June 19th, and we are back in it 2 weeks in a row. Getting our weekly our weekly calls going here. So this is good stuff. Our weekly update for BionicWP. That's what we're talking about today. Some news actually happened this week in Karachi, Pakistan. We were able to open the office, and we were absolutely crushing it. Had amazing progress, and then
we had to shut it down. So last week we said we are opening the office. So in 1 week we opened and we closed. Right. So that it wasn't a very impressive kind of a feat in opening the office, but the 4 days that we did get in the office, like they were amazing, and we did accomplish a lot. And I think they were good in a way that because we have a few very technical features that we'll be working on, the team is working on. So they got 4 days to kind of work on that, talk about that, make sure that they all understand what they're doing. But it's not something we had planned for. We were of the view that now it's open and we'll be there in the office. But definitely having everyone safe is very much more important. So that's what the government decided, that they have to impose a 2 weeks lockdown in selected parts of the city, which happened to be like 70% of the city. So we also all, like most of the guys that were areas that they came from, where our offices all got selected for that lockdown. So we did have to, like, we were there for 4 days from Monday to Thursday. Today we all again work from home, but I think we did carry forward some of the momentum, because like now that everyone knows each other more, like have worked together, like they had food together. So that kind of, at least we got that in 4 days. So I think for the 2 weeks that we are working from home, we'll be able to like use some of that kind of momentum. But definitely, like it is a kind of everyone is a little kind of off by that, because we were expecting to work from the office.
Yeah, I mean, as Abdul and I were talking about how to get me more engaged, and and then all of a sudden it fell apart, right? Just like that. So, hopefully it's just for 2 weeks. That's what we're hoping for. So, I think July what
2nd,
day?
July 2nd.
2nd. So it's really, I mean, I guess it is 2 weeks, but yeah. So we'll play the hand we've been dealt, and we'll move forward with that. I think, like you said, we had a ton of great progress. We saw some cool things. We came up with some new nicknames for a couple guys because they're deep in some stuff. So one guy's nickname is API. So it's kind of fun to see that happening, and guys building some camaraderie together and being able to hang out a little bit is kind of fun.
And also
based on that,
one more thing, that because they all came to the office, they worked really hard on that. They all showed us like their capabilities as well now. So now the thing is, like today, like when we were having a stand-up, we were like, okay, we were expecting a little more on this side, right? So the thing is, because now we know, like everyone, we understand, like working from home, not all of these guys are like experienced in that, like, and they're like, it becomes a little difficult for people who don't have that kind of a like an environment where they can work in at home. But still, like, so now we at least know how much APIs that API guys can build in a day, stuff like that. So I think that just gives us more kind of leverage as well.
Yeah, and I think we're also implementing a pretty strong QA process, right? Yeah. We have a new quality assurance person, and I think today in our company meeting, you mentioned he's kind of like the police, right? Like he's pretty strict. He's been rejecting tickets, knocking them out of the air, and putting them back on the developers to get that work done again. And it's cool to see somebody step in right away and not be afraid to do that by like ruffling people's feathers or doing whatever. But he came in and is doing his job exactly how he wants to, and he's in our daily stand-ups with me now, providing feedback and what we're seeing. You want to kind of expand anything on that?
No, I think that is the first thing that I kind of made sure, because QA definitely is like a very, very important part of the whole, like, especially if you have a product and you are working on a product. So it's very important, because like there's so many moving parts. Different developers working on different things, there are chances, and then with the timelines that we have, we're pushing code really fast. So there is a need for having a very strong QA process to make sure that at least we can avoid the errors that we can, like, because some things you only come visible when they're in production, when many people use it. But at least the small stuff that we can catch early on. And that's the reason we had one guy who joined in today or this week on Monday, and then last week, sorry. And then we have another QA guy, a more senior guy, joining from Monday, right? So we have two QA guys that will be there. Like the one that's joining on Monday is even more experienced, right? So I'm expecting that we'll have even more kind of rules on in place for that, because I think, and that's, it was very important that I, like when I had first discussion with them, I said, okay, like from our side, from the management side, no one will ask you, like I will never ask you why the ticket got rejected. It's your, that you have full authority when it comes to you, the guy, because I said if anything goes wrong, I'll be asking you. And I won't ask the developer, I'll ask the developer second. I'll ask first, like how did it get through? So I think that's also very important to make sure that the QA guys, everyone knows, like, and I'm very happy that our lead developer is on board on that as well. And he has similar instructions to the QA guy to make sure that everything that goes through at least follows all the SOPs that we have set out and things like that. Because right now
Yeah.
we are very, our code base is growing very fast, and I expect that by in the next 12 months, if once we are like 12 months out, our code base would be really large and really complicated. So it's best to establish good practices right away, like from now, because like like technical debt can be like, it's the more
We've
you,
talked
yeah,
about that.
yeah, the
Yeah.
more you
Hmm.
wait to pay it, the more interest you'll have to pay on it.
Yeah. So we have those two QA people, one of them starting Monday, then we have three other people
Yeah.
starting Monday. Why don't you talk about those three other people that we have coming on board?
Yeah, so our team is growing quite rapidly. So we have two, three, four new
Well, it
people.
needs to slow down a little bit in a couple,
Yeah,
we
I
can't,
think we
well,
are
I guess
almost, yeah, we are like almost at the end of our, you can say, this quarter's hiring, and even like next quarter's hiring. We might, like next
we might
quarter,
be adding some support
support. Yeah,
people, but
support is the
mhm.
only position that I think will be there, but we're almost at the end. We just are looking for maybe one or two more guys right now, but after that it's done. So the four new people that are joining in on Monday, one of them, like I said, is the QA guy. Then we have one designer joining in to help us with all the design parts of the platform and other things.
That
And
person will have their hands full, that's for
yeah,
sure. They have
yeah,
lots of things to design. So
yeah, but a lot of things, and a lot of people waiting for him anxiously to join, because like that's like a lot of, I think a lot of things are there, but it's good that he has a lot of work already there for him to start. And then we have two DevOps engineers joining in. So, and this was a long position that we were looking for, and looking for the right people to join. So we have two new guys joining in. One of them would be more towards the DevOps development side, where development scripts and stuff like that. And the other guy that's joining in is more toward infrastructure monitoring. So he'll be a kind of the infrastructure support guy, making sure all the servers are working properly and stuff like that. And then we also have one guy joining from next Monday. So from 29th, that's a support person, a WordPress engineer.
and we're very excited about him as well.
Yeah.
So, and then lastly, kind of the last thing for the weekly update is, it's kind of funny. We got into the office and everybody was, working together. So we saw how efficient everyone was. So we added some more things to the task list that they needed to do. I'm going to a presentation in Miami, middle of July and end of July. I'm giving two different presentations in Miami. And we want to have some sort of platform ready to test and show people of, hey, this is the speeds your current site's at. This is what your speed can be on our platform. And I think it's going to be a great sales tool. So we're trying to get that built now as well, on top of obviously building the normal platform. I'm sure Afran and Hassan love when you and I sit together and brainstorm new ideas of things we can build.
Yeah.
So that's kind of in our.
They
Go
have
ahead.
now kind of told me that they'll, from next month onwards, they won't be accepting the feature list on its face value. They've already told me that they will be not accepting it just like, okay, this is the few, yeah, that it's a good feature list. They'll be like kind of, we'll be going, and I think that's the process that we wanted to develop, like each feature discussed beforehand. So like they know exactly what they, so when they commit to something, they know exactly what they're committing to, and we can also be
Yeah.
sure, okay, like this is a well understood kind of a product, like a feature, and everyone understands what needs to be done to accomplish that.
Yeah, we tricked them once, that's
Yeah,
for sure. No, they're not
yeah,
letting us do that again.
yeah.
But
They are.
I hope you and I will, dial it in as we go. But I mean, this is part of who we are and what we do. We see things that we need, and the team needs to be able to shift a little bit. Obviously, you got to keep our eye on the prize and get that completed, but we still have to be a little bit nimble in developing things to support the tool to help close deals and whatnot.
Yep, and just
So,
to add it on that point on the being the nimble part, and that's one of the reasons that we have followed a very API focused approach, because I think we haven't had a chance to discuss like what tech stack we are using and stuff like that, and that's one of the reasons that we chose Lumen, which is a micro framework from Laravel, right? Laravel is a very big PHP framework, so we're using Lumen because the idea was that we the whole backend that we are building, like it's nothing but APIs, and that's why like you hear a lot of API discussion going on, because like when people expect, okay, there's backend, there's something happening, and it's all APIs for us. Like every function, every button that's there on the front end is being powered by an API call somewhere. So it's a very API, it's a very minimalistic kind of a backend, just an API that's working, an API server that's just responding to queries. So that like helps us being nimble as well, being agile as well, because then if we want to improve a feature later on, we just have to focus on one API, improve it. Like if we want to improve the performance of it, we want to improve the response times, we want to improve how it's working, you can focus on an API, focus on that script, improve it. And also that kind of gives you more redundancy as well. So if something is going wrong, it's going wrong in a particular API and it's not affecting everything else also.
Yeah. Yep, that's great. Cool. Last thing I'll say is if anybody's interested in being part of our beta MHP launch, you go to BionicWP.com, just enter your email and you can be added to that list, and we will let you know when we release that. I hope to have something, sooner than later. I should let Abdul, I'll let you, before I put my foot in my mouth, what date do you think we could have people on the board testing it in a very basic version?
I think the idea is that when you go for the intensive in July, when you're going there, that's the idea, that the platform is open enough there to start getting people. So I would say like mid of July or the third week of July, where people can start coming in. Like we will have a very big warning there that this is a very actively being developed product. So there might be features that or things that you might see today which might not be available 2 days later when we kind of work on it. But
Exactly.
the idea is that we want to start getting, because August is the month where we want to be much more stable. So if we want to do that by end of August, we need at least 1 month of user feedback for that. So we'll be looking at somewhere between mid and end of July.
Cool. Awesome.
Does that align with the date that you had in mind?
It sure does. I mean, I have no, I think that's right in line. And I think, you mentioned this technology stack. I think we should probably talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
And talk about, how we're building this and what we're seeing and whatnot. So, yeah, I think we are good there. And that'll wrap it up for the week of June 19th.
Yeah.
We are putting it in the books. That's it. Go ahead and sign up if you want to be part of BionicWP's first launch. Love customer feedback in that space. I'm Michael. He's Abdul. Have a great day.